yesterday that the former Chief Justice declared Parliament unconstitutional while he was still in office and wondered why he wants the same House to now impeach the president. Still a hot case there, as well as how it's going to pan out. Now, leaders are creating confusion to postpone 2022 polls. That is according to Mwangi Kiunjuri. The Service Party leader says that the constitution must be respected. No amount of confusion in the country will force us to allow for the postponement of the 2022 general election. Kiunjuri said that some leaders were coming up with issues meant to put the country in a confused state so that they can get an excuse to postpone the next general elections scheduled for August 9th, 2022. He said that Kenyans won't allow the elections to be postponed and the constitution must be respected by all, saying that they are praying for peace in Kenya. That is what is making rounds today, and we've been having this discussion, and just a day or so ago, former National Assembly Majority Leader Eden Duale also said that there is no intention for the parliament, the current parliament tenure, to be extended by any chance, and what they're working on is just work on the timelines. Remember, we have got BBI here, we have got the swearing in of new IEBC commissioners, and so many things happening. We have got so many cases putting on hold some of these constitutional processes in the country, and that has got a very big repercussion on that. Education and health take lion's share of remittances to Kenya. That is according to survey. A total of 333 billion shillings was sent home last year, up from 301 billion shillings the previous year. All right. So we are doing so well in terms of how money is being sent home, in terms of education, and so much more. Jen, what do you have for us?
You know, I'm still stuck on the COVID-19 funds and that airtime bit, because how many times did we get messages from our county leaders about washing our hands and doing what we're supposed to in line with the Ministry of Health guidelines when it comes to COVID-19? Like, personally, I think I got about 2 or 3 messages this entire time. I don't know if you got any messages in regards to COVID-19 protocols, Vic.
Yeah, you can never justify. They say that, you know, they spent millions of shillings in terms of airtime. How that was spent, audit report will show. But then again, some of the counties use the money for print advertisements, you know, electronic radio, TV, and what have you. Some of them would say that they use the same money to send short messages to the constituents on how to mitigate the spread of the coronavirus. And you can never win that war. I don't know. Audit report, you just have to give us the way forward on this one.
Dr. Pata, quote, each message costed 60 shillings to send.
And over 10 million messages. So you can imagine.
So do the math and just try and get that is airtime, among many other forms of communication. But, you know, let's wait and see when the audits are done. Now, let's come to the back page of the Daily Nation. This is in regards to Form 1 selection. Now, as we all know it, on the 28th of May was the day that we expected the CS to announce the placement for our candidates who sat for the KCPE exams. That is when they were to know which schools they were going to go to, regardless of whether it was a school they had chosen or not. But on that particular day, or rather the day before, the CS announced that the placement of children will be announced on the 15th of June, which is tomorrow. So as we await this long-awaited placement of Form 1 candidates now, exactly 2 months since they did their exams. It will be happening tomorrow. And according to the CS, he said that all the 1.18 million candidates who sat for their KCPE exams are going to be placed into secondary schools. The learners who have also been out of school since they completed the KCPE exams will also join secondary school mid next month. However, there are new rules that are also going to be put in place, and some of these rules are going to make it hard for learners who have been admitted to particular schools, but they do not prefer the schools that they have been admitted to and would prefer to move to other schools. This is going to be very hard because the ministry is trying to stay in line with the 100% transition policy from primary to secondary school, and whichever school you are going to be placed is where you are expected to stay, because that is where you have been made room for. All this information is going to be made available. The placement results will be available on the National Educational and Management Information System, that is NEMIS, and transfers will only be permissible through the same system. So as we wait for the results to be made public tomorrow in regards to the selection process of Form 1 schools, all that will be placed on the NEMIS, and any changes that you as a parent would like to make with your child will also be done on the same platform. Now, let's come to page 9. Fresh controversy over appointment of judges. What is this fresh controversy, you ask? Let me tell you. Now, according to Maraga Mutunga, an ex-JSC vice chair, they say that this list of nominees was altered. This alleged alteration of list of judiciary nominees in line with those who were rejected in regards to the appointment by President Kenyatta. And according to retired Chief Justice David Maraga and also his predecessor Willie Mutunga, they speak the same when they say that the list of nominees that President Kenyatta had expressed reservation about had changed. This was also backed by the immediate former JSC vice chair, that is Mercy Deche, who told the nation that 2 of the 4 High Court judges that were snubbed in the appointments done by President Kenyatta after a 2-year standoff were not in the initial list that was furnished by JSC in 2019. Now, when you get to the details of this story, they talk of how the names of the judges have been switched. 2 were originally there, but 2 were not there. These are the words of Dr. Deche. And she said that even in 2019, the nominees the executive rejected were of the judicial officers, 4 being of the High Court judges and 2 were magistrates. The names of the magistrates remain the same. There are chief magistrates, that is Evans Mokori, and High Court registrar Judith Omange. She went on to say that the 4 judges who had been recommended for promotion to the Court of Appeal, but whose names were omitted in the list of 40 appointments and are Justice Joel Gugi, George Odunga, Weldon Korir, and Agre Muchulule. The 6 judicial officers are still carrying out their duties. So as per what this particular piece says is that these 3 speak the same voice, and they refuse to give the details, the specifics when it comes to the names of those whose names were not originally there from the 2019 list. They say that this list was changed and these names, particularly 2, were not there originally, and therefore throwing a spanner when it comes to this controversy on the appointment of these judges. Victor.
All right, now let's flip pages and head to the Standard. Uhuru wants Safe Jubilee as allies scatter. Political trends show that parties fade after winning presidency, and Jubilee is headed in the same direction, with Uhuru seemingly disinterested in saving it from collapse. That is the story making the headlines on the Standard. Married woman fails to stop workmate from child's DNA test. Much more, get to read the Standard. And on health, men don't fall sick. They also feel unwell. All right? Men don't just fall sick. They feel unwell. Most men are not socialized to ask for help, and they are not supposed to appear unsure, weak, or dependent on others. It's a very good read there. You can take more details on the Standard. All right. The story of the woman who faced to stop workmate from child's DNA test also fleshed out in the Standard. Over the weekend, there's a story that happened in the Masai Mara we all know of the king of the jungle, the Scarface, the 14-year-old male lion that took the pride of Kenya by storm. An iconic lion nicknamed Scarface died of old age after ruling the Masai Mara Game Reserve for 14 years. The lion that derived its name from the scar on top of its right eye was one of the most recognizable cat and darling to the big four lovers and the game lovers. The Scarface, also known as Half Eye, died on Friday at around 1 p.m. Around Musiara, where he was born in 2008. The Scarface belonged to a group of to the tour guides, and it most of the people, most of the tourists loved, that iconic cat in the jungle. And Scarface, its photo has gone viral around the world because of that scar on top of its right eye.
It was even featured in one of the Nat Geo series that were done, just trying to follow it and understand how it behaves, understanding how it even reigns over its territory. It was really interesting to see that. And that's actually, one of the ways that it also gained popularity when it was featured there. Scarface.
Take a short break then.
On that note, we want to take a sip of our coffee as you do so why don't you do that? We will be back with more of what the papers have for us this morning. Stay with us.
Bwana Motiso, pikipiki yako ndio hii. Uko shwani yangu. Hii pikipiki ni unakumbuka uniekelea the lowest unique bid yako ilikuwa ngapi? 18 shillings. Na unajua kuendesha hii gari? Kidogo. Haya, kitoko yako shika helmet, kifungu yako chomoka na mali yako.
Kujiunga na QuickBid ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bid yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16. Kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bid yako pia kwenye www.quickbid.co.ke. Kumbuka, bid ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio ununua. QuickBid, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
The greatest rally in the world is back in Kenya. Catch all the action of WRC Safari Rally live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1 from 24th to 27th June. Rough terrain at breakneck speeds. Experience the thrills, adrenaline, drama and excitement as man and machine do battle. Don't miss out. WRC Safari Rally, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Tonight.
I had everything prepared. If I hadn't met Chi Shang, I'd have my doctorate by now.
You've really thought this through?
I've made up my mind already. We'll hit the road after Shetin has recovered, probably in a few days. Nobody can stop me, even Taylor.
You tell Chi Shang I'm not that cheap. The issue between us can't be resolved by a bank card. From now on, we're nothing but strangers.
Next on.
Hello. Hamjambo. Nzuri sana. Kidogo park on risk please. Watoka wapi? Jirani yako mimi nakaa hapa phase 2 hapa.
Wewe unasema waka mashambani wewe.
Mimi naishi hapa karibu hapo phase 2. Hatoke Miayo na kusikia. Nataka gari zangu zoshwa pale karibu hapa gari 4. Mwanangu mimi kazi yangu ni Kanda Warriors. Kanda Warriors. Wale Red Indians.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
You're going to realize it soon, Dad, just how mistaken you are. And you and Maximiliano are going to remember me, Dad. You're going to remember me. Listen, don't be naive. Come on. Amaya will obviously be there because that's the wedding of her sister. But my brother doesn't have any business there. He went so he could be with my wife. Do you understand?
Cesar,
Idiot.
no. But none of you knows what I'm capable of doing in the name of justice.
Right. And what justice are you talking about, huh? Answer me. Answer me.
Max, watch out! Be careful!
Look at what the papers have for us in this particular segment in the headlines. Our communication platforms still remain open. The hashtag is Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. At KBC Channel 1 is our official station handle. Our individual handles are at Victor Olo and at Jane Wambui. Now, let me take you to this particular story here on page 11 of the People's Daily Vic. And it's a story of what is happening in India. There's a small village in India that have erected a shrine to a goddess of Corona and are offering her prayers in the hope that divine intervention can banish the deadly virus. So it has been seeing thousands and thousands of people coming to offer prayers, holy water, flowers. It is a bright yellow shrine which they erected. They pray to it almost day and night. There's an estimated about 30,000 people who have already visited this particular shrine. One was actually quoted saying that maybe with her blessing, the villagers, our village, and everyone else will get some relief. This is the words of one villager whose name was Sangita as she was interviewed. We all know what is happening in India. It has been one of the hardest hit when it comes to the coronavirus infections. It is continuing on that road, and we did see the World Health Organization telling us as the population to brace for a fourth wave of COVID-19. So in as much as, you know, we are hoping for the best, people are at a breaking point. And for some, and especially this particular group in India, this is a way to cope, to just try and find relief and find something to hold on to when it comes to hope in regards to how COVID-19 is just ravaging through and taking lives by the day. Vic.
Jen, there's a story here of a man who attended, quote-unquote, his burial ceremony on leaving jail. So a man who was jailed for 2 months returned home only to find his family and friends planning to bury a body presumed to be his. Now, some residents of East Kamagambo, that is in Migori County, who saw him walking home where family and friends were planning his burial, ran away thinking it was a ghost. Okay, Fred Ochieng, who had completed his jail term after failing to pay 10,000 shillings fine for a traffic offense, was shocked at the turn of events and demanded to know whose remains were about to be buried, only to be told that it was him. So the family took about 30 minutes before they gathered the courage to move closer to him and confirm it was
it's really him.
It was, yes. So Ochieng, who is a boda rider in Rangwe, was arrested on April 30th. And on the same day, his family reported that he was missing. So for them, they were just about to bury a different person, only for the real person to, can the real Ochieng now stand up?
Please stand up.
Please stand up. And the real Ochieng came home knocking, only to find that it was not him. All right. Let's talk about some education matters. Grade 6 to get new books in the 1.6 billion shillings project, and 8 publishers have been contracted by the government to print and distribute 1.2 billion shillings grade 6 textbooks. And the textbooks are expected to be in all public primary schools by May next year, when the present grade 5 pupils will move to grade 6. The government negotiated prices for 12 textbooks for learners and teachers' guides in a procurement method adopted in 2017. So that is something, some good news for grade 6 pupils who will be joining school. That is next in May, after moving from grade 5. So you don't have to worry about that. Still on standard, opinion divided over calls to resuscitate moribund NASA. And we have got leader Raila Odinga there, Moses Atangula, Kalonzo Musyoka, and of course, Musalia Mudavadi. The story of Shabal returning to ODM, now calling, sending some mixed signals in the course, now that the current governor, that is Joho, is finishing his second term as the governor of that particular county. All right. Now, so this is a story here, Jane, of where Mathare Korogocho slums to have flow for boda boda riders. I think this is a very bad story. This is a very bad indication for the boda boda riders in Nairobi. Now listen to this. Boda boda operators in Nairobi will now have a special hospital floor dedicated for them in the soon to be completed Mathare Korogocho hospitals. Now this comes at a time where many lives are lost and pillion passengers getting serious injuries following boda boda accidents. Just imagine that hospitals are now dedicating special floor and wards for the boda boda operators and their pillion passengers.
That's how bad the situation is.
But it can be saved either way.
You know, we are addressing the consequence of something.
Yes.
As opposed to understanding how we can take care of the root cause. And that's why I say we are living in a time where we are reactive as opposed to being proactive.
Sure.
This goes back to how things are on the road. When it comes to how the roads are, let's just start with that. At least we are seeing some changes in, just starting with the CBD here.
Yes.
They are restructuring, putting pedestrian walk paths, segments for bikes and motorbikes, bicycles and motorbikes, just segmenting the roads to help all public road users know where to go and what to use, what time. We're even seeing the automated zebra crossing and the lights for passengers to cross the roads. Now, these are the things that we need to help address some of these accidents. When you're on a bike, you are the body of the bike.
Yes.
If anything is to happen, you will face the harshest consequences, leave alone the bike. Inaweza kuwa write-off or it can be fixed. But
exactly.
You as a person,
you get the direct impact.
You are the impact. Wewe ndio body. Si gari, wewe ndio body.
And imagine if all the hospitals had special wards for motor vehicle owners or drivers. Just imagine. And that has not happened. And now it has turned around that most of the hospitals, go to Kisii level 5, go to Kisumu, go to the border towns of Malaba, Busia, you will find some of the hospitals have dedicated wards and rooms for the border operators. And they're ever full. Something can be changed. It's about the mentality.
Yeah, it's how we behave on the road.
It's about the mentality, guys.
Once we handle that, we will not be seeing as much accidents as we are seeing. Then goes to the courses that are offered. We need to have refresher courses after a certain amount of years when you're on the road. Technology advances the motor vehicles and that we use. A boda boda 2016 is not the same one with boda boda in Unatumia 2020. And you find this is still the same person, hasn't had any refresher courses to understand how to handle this new version. So I think we ought to do better as a people.
We ought to do better. And our brothers and sisters in the same industry, it's business, yes, but attitude matters a lot. Attitude matters a lot, to an extent that the county government of Nairobi is just about to dedicate a ward for you.
Imagine
it's
that.
It's crazy. So imagine the government is anticipating that you are going to be in those wards. All right. So now let's cross to Regina Ray Manyara. We are told that Ray Manyara is in the Bundus, somewhere in the Amboseli National Park. It is an important activity and event there. We talked about Scarface, and of course the KWS is just about to have one of the most important activities there. If you have Regina ready, there you have it. Regina, good morning and good to see you. How are you doing? All right, seems that we still have audio issues there with Regina, but we are still trying to get hold of her. She is somewhere in the Amboseli National Park, and she'll tell us more details on... Do we have Regina now? Okay, all right. So we have that. All right, we are trying to get to that connection to Regina. As soon as we get her, then we'll get more details from her wherever she is and what the activity is all about. Now, resolve border row in Kisumu and Kericho. Okay, all right, I'm told that Regina is back now. Let's cross to Regina in Amboseli National Park. Regina, if you're ready now, please just go ahead and give us a rundown on what's happening from wherever you are. Okay. Seems that we're still having that challenge with the connection. Let me just give you that story about the border row between Kisumu and Kericho counties. The county government of Kisumu and Kericho have to resolve the border boundary dispute at Sondu or face legal action. The Kericho Senator Aaron Cheruyot told Governor Paul Chepkwony and Kisumu's Anyang' Nyong'o to end the conflict that has seen business people and residents of those two counties at Sondu taxed twice. Now, copies of several business permits showed both counties have been collecting taxes from traders. Documents also issued by the Kisumu County to some of the business owners indicate that they have been forced to pay between 7,000 shillings and 10,000 shillings since 2013. When the devolved units became operational. Traders have been paying trade licensing and other fees to Kericho County, and that has been causing a lot of business and wrangles between the two counties and traders. All right, I'm told that Regina is now ready. Let's just cross over to Regina, who is at the Amboseli National Park, to give us a feel of what's happening there in the jungle. Regina, you must be feeling very well now that you're having yourself in the national park. Good morning.
Good morning, Jane and Victor. Indeed, we are coming to you live from Kajiado County at the Amboseli National Park. This is the Oltukai Lodge, and we're here because in not too long, the Tourism Cabinet Secretary is going to officially launch the elephant naming program. Some quick fun facts, being a Monday, because we need to chase away the Monday blues. What you see in the background is Mount Kilimanjaro that is domiciled in Tanzania. A fun fact is that while the mountain is physically, or rather geographically, in Tanzania, that spectacular view is only in Kenya. Indeed, Kenya prides itself as an ideal tourist destination on beach and safari. Also in the background are what we refer to as wild-beast, better known to or rather referred to as gnus. A fun fact about the gnus there is that it's said that it is a patchwork. That particular animal or species is a patchwork. The face of a grasshopper, the beard or rather the goatee of a goatee with, yeah, if you can say that, the face looks like a grasshopper, but the tail looks, or rather is very, very similar to that what you find on a horse. Those are just some quick facts about where we are because we are in the wild. Now, this particular elephant naming ceremony that is going to be officially launched by Tourism Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala in the next few hours or so, just is a precursor to the International Elephants Day that is marked on August 12th. Now, Kenya has been at the forefront in trying to stem poaching. The statistics indicate that in 2020, Kenya lost 11 elephants. But for Amboseli National Park, for the last 2 decades, that's around 20 years, they have not lost even one elephant. Just going to show that what has been done by the KWS here, that is even monitoring these elephants as we speak using a unique technology that follows up or rather keeps track of these elephants using DNA. Later in the day, we're going to also be talking to the KWS service to just understand this particular technology and what it has done to ensure that they do not lose the wildlife here. Remember, if there is no wildlife, then the tourism sector that has really been struggling owing to matters of COVID-19 disruptions would likely actually suffer more. So matters of poaching have been quite the thing that has even dropped, or rather even world over. Look at what is happening in Zimbabwe, Zambia, as well as South Africa, where hunting is actually not prohibited, unlike here in Kenya. So also later in the day, we're going to be having a conversation with the Tourism Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala to just tell us what are his thoughts post-budget and what the tourism sector has received. Some of the lessons that the hospitality industry players have been pointing at during this 1 year post-COVID is that the domestic tourism has provided a buffer. The domestic market has provided a buffer for the hospitality industry because now global travel is almost at a minimal, as foreign states, our source markets, that being the United States of America as well as Europe, have cut travel owing to COVID-19. So what is being done by the tourism ministry to just help hospitality industry players continue weathering the storm? And is the time right to now focus clearly on domestic tourism? Well, for the Amboseli National Park, last year, they recorded births of elephant calves at a number of 289. So Jane there and Victor, also among these particular statistics, is that one of the elephants there, and being that elephants are mostly matriarchal, was a set of twins. And we understand that this was a phenomena. It's very rare to have an elephant giving birth to elephant, or baby elephants, what we're referring to, but cults in twins. So we'll be keeping tabs on what is happening, especially in Amboseli, what they're doing different from other national parks, and also to just look at the tourism sector in general. What we need to know is that the elephant is said to have an institutional memory. If you go down in history, and some of the documentation that has been put out there is that where an elephant crosses with a herd 5-10 years ago, whether the river flows there or a construction comes up, they will still follow that channel. An elephant is also a species that mourns its dead. So those are just fun facts about elephants. So we are live from Amboseli, which happens to be in Kajiado County. We're going to be keeping tabs on the day's happenings, and I hope that where you are is not as chilly as where we are right now. So we'll be keeping tabs as we continue with Good Morning Kenya. I'm Regina Manyara. Back to you, Victor and Jane.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay, that is our colleague and reporter Regina Manyara, all the way from the Amboseli National Park. She has given us quite interesting figures that in 2020 there were 11 elephants which were lost, but in this year alone Amboseli National Park has lost none. Now that is some good news there. In just naming and doing the head count, and of course the statistics of these wild animals is quite important for the sake of our tourism, and of course just trying to preserve our, our heritage of the big four, elephant being one of them. That is event that is going to be happening at the Amboseli National Park, and guided and of course being taken care of by the CS for Tourism, Najib Belala. We are going to get more details on that in our subsequent bulletins. Of course, Regina Manyara is already at the Amboseli National Park. We'll get more details on that. Okay. On this particular point, we have to take a break on in the headlines, what's been trending. Up next is people in politics and what is happening. Oh, yeah. All right. Okay. We have got this happening, all right? GMK still happening right now. We have got Orogo already in the studio. Advice Mundalu is also going to join us briefly so that we can continue with the discussion. All right? Shall we take a break? We'll be right back.
Bwana Motiso, pikipiki yako ndio hii. Uko shwani yangu. Hii pikipiki ni unakumbuka uliekelea the lowest unique bid yako ilikuwa ngapi? 18 shillings. Na unajua kuendesha hii gari? Kidogo. Haya, kitoko yako shika helmet, kifungu yako chomoka na mali yako.
Kujiunga na QuickBid ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bid yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16. Kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bid yako pia kwenye www.quickbid.co.ke. Kumbuka, bid ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio hununua. QuickBid, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
The greatest rally in the world is back in Kenya. Catch all the action of WRC Safari Rally live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1 from 24th to 27th June. See the world's best drivers navigate their machines on Kenya's rough terrain at breakneck speeds. Experience the thrills, adrenaline, drama and excitement as man and machine do battle. Don't miss out. WRC Safari Rally, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Tonight.
I had everything prepared. If I hadn't met Chida-san, I'd have my doctorate by now.
You really thought this through?
I've made up my mind already. We'll hit the road after Shetin has recovered, probably in a few days. Nobody can stop me, even Taylor.
You tell Chida-san I'm not that cheap. The issue between us can't be resolved by a bank card. From now on, we're nothing but strangers.
I'm Hamza Anwar, 22 years old. I'll be competing in this WRC. We are car number 48, driving under the Rally Star program in a Ford Fiesta Rally 3. This is a sport. We want you guys to be safe, and especially to the youth. I know a lot of you guys are coming out to watch. We hope to see you guys there.
having our discussion now elevated to the next level. Right now, let's just flip pages and take a look at some of the issues that have been happening over the weekend and what we should expect this coming week. And now it's time for Eye on Politics. A lot happened over the weekend. Several leaders, crisscrossing the country, trying to set the pace for this coming week and just making some of the inroads on places that we thought some of the politicians are not going to hit. Now, on this particular set, we have got Orogo himself here. Today is just one man show. Advice Mundala may disappear. We are just yet to know where he disappeared to, and of course he's just under the weather and he'll not be able to join us today. We wish him a quick recovery wherever he is, but nonetheless the show must continue. And Orogo, good morning and good to see you.
Good morning. It's another fresh week. It's
Absolutely.
good to see you here.
What's happening? All right, so it was a busy weekend. Of course, we had several leaders. Let's talk about several leaders meeting in Mount Kenya. And over the couple of weeks, 2 or so, we've had the issue of Mount Kenya split in the middle, the East and the West, following the coronation of National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi as the Mount Kenya spokesman. And now the leaders say that the split is soon to be felt. Do you think that is the case?
Well, I think significantly, you've had the voting history of Mount Kenya.
Yes.
And from Kenyatta regime, you could see that there is a systematic way the voting constituency of Mount Kenya has been on solid.
Right.
I mean, they unanimously vote a candidate, and save for 1992 when you had Kibaki Matiba issue by that time. So, and like the rest of the days, this region has been very, it's a block, that votes united. So I think there is a reason to worry because one, as we discussed it here on the set, the coronation exercise that we saw that took place where, Justin Muturi was installed as, the spokesperson for Mount Kenya. And in fact, there had been debate whether he's a spokesperson or just a cultural leader.
Yes, yes.
And I think politics, cultural leadership is laced with political factor in it. So for me, I think there's been a threat, and just Luke mentioned that Mount Kenya East, Meru, Mbeere, and other areas are likely that they are threatening that if they are not really considered within the general vote reach of Mount Kenya, they would secede from always supporting Mount Kenya, the other central, another part of it. So I think this is one thing that really reflects on the general view of succession politics within not only the Mount Kenya region, but also within the governing party, as we speak.
Yes.
And it bequeathed the leadership of Jubilee Party to call the house in order. And one of the things that I advocate for always, that you see, the jostling that we are seeing around from different political parties, strike a semblance of a healthy political debate, even as we proceed to 2022 general elections. One is the fact that all political parties must put their house in order. In fact, that they should allow internal democracy to prevail. Questioning functions that are existing within these political parties must always be seen within the scope of party transparency, within the scope of competitive leadership within the political parties. Because then if that fails, then a party would assume that it's united, yet the internal wrangles within can provide a different pitfalls. And you see, say for what we are talking about right now, one of the things that we advocate for, that President Uhuru Kenyatta, say for being a president of the Republic of Kenya, he is a Jubilee leader. And as his term begins to end, and as he's looking forward to finishing his term in 2022, constitutional term, then he should also be very wary of who be the helm of the leadership in the Jubilee Party,
right,
which gave him a ticket to, to be the focal point persons. So I think it's enough for him not to look at this jostling with hands off. It would be advisable for him to rein in and, try to help the party united and save the cracks that are beginning to emerge within the party.
Right. Could it be that President Kenyatta is just reluctant deliberately?
No, I think that is not reluctance within the party, because, see what Moi did when he was ending, his term in 2002. He was hands-on, like he wanted to know after him who takes over, and even his choice for unlikely candidate by that time, who is now currently the president of the republic. He wanted to leave KANU with the leadership.
Yes.
He was interested in who takes over the helm of the ruling party by that time. And we also saw in, around 2012, 2013, when Kibaki was just, his term was about to end, though for him, he was very diplomatic in terms of, who he would want to succeed him. But, you could hear from, his lieutenants, deciding. I mean, John Michuki declaring that, if you want to speak to Mount Kenya, then you have to speak to Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yes.
All central Kenya and eastern Kenya was united in saying, our spokesperson and the leader of a party that we want to see post-2013 must be Uhuru Kenyatta. So for him also, I think he should learn from the cue, take the cues from those two leaders, and he must really now rein in because, Victor, we've been talking about in this set, the Jubilee Party has lost a number of,
seats in
number of seats in the by-elections. And you could see what Kimunya said, this weekend in Kiambaa, saying that if you do not vote for this candidate, then the goodies that the government has promised is not going to come in this region. So I think for them is a matter of just trying to, making sure that critically you consolidate the followership of Jubilee Party, because it's a governing party and it's a party that has signed post and pre-election agreements with other political parties. It's a party that is one of the frontiers of Building Bridges initiative as their legacy project. So I think it should not be seen as a lukewarm president, but it should rein in what is taking place.
Raising an important question now that, on today's papers, there are some talks that the NASA brigades are having that plan to resuscitate the moribund NASA. Okay, they want to come together. This is politics. So are we likely to see a situation where President Kenyatta would be, deliberately quiet to oversee the projects going on without the politics taking the center stage, and then later on, reinvigorate the Jubilee Party and coming back to life? Are we likely to see that happening in future?
Well, that would be one theoretical bit of it. That would be one perspective, that for the remaining period before he actually pull back his political clause, he would want to be seen as a president who is working. And that would be a very interesting bit of it, because he wants to strike the face of an executive, one who wants to leave a legacy term of the Big Four agenda. And for him, I think what he's been doing of late is launching one project after the other. Following up on projects that were launched, that are existing, that seeing what is the current status of those programs, and in other times also trying to install new leadership, heads of parastatals, striking more of international face, diplomacy, multilateralism, bilateralism. That is what actually President Kenyatta would now, look like he's doing right now, which I think that works, because at the end of the day, one of the things, the biggest question that all Kenyans would want to know from him, not only Jubilee Party, but every Kenyans, what did you do in your term? Victor, we are alive to the fact that the first term of president was marked by, trying to establish himself in the office, and the dynamic duo of Uhuruto government by that time, donning on in similar T-shirts, in similar ties, trying to work the government of the day, and the second phase from 2017 marked by wrangles between two factions. I think he would want to exonerate himself by striking a phase of a working president that want to leave a government and fulfilling the Big Four agenda and the agenda of Jubilee Party by that time, trying to avoid politics by for right now, but then as the term begins to end, as the months begin to roll in, as we have, begin to approach 2022, he would want to, reinvent back and now decide on who inherits, inherits his phase. But I can also tell you that there is an underlying, he's pulling string underlying, and this is a fact. Nobody can begin to champion for be a spokesperson if the spokesperson is still there. I mean, how would that happen if President Kenyatta is still the de facto spokesperson of Central Kenya? Why is he allowing that to happen? Why is he allowing the jostling within the Jubilee Party? Friendly fire sometimes burns. So I think it's important for him not to strike a balance of allowing internal party democracy within the governing party, knowing the limits, but also working as the president.
So the move is tactical.
Yes.
Right. The question is that we have got Mount Kenya East and West. And, the East would say that we've been in power for quite some time, and the West would say it's now our time to lead the central part of Kenya. My question is, how is it going to augur well with the East, who've been in power for all these years? The move to have Muturi on that particular front line, then now, is it a point of you have taken reign for quite some time, but Mount Kenya must also be considered on the negotiating table? But you know what? We have to shift it. So was it deliberate to have Muturi there?
Yes, I think it was a deliberation, and you could actually see it's a deliberate step. Before his installation, I think one weekend you saw all the governors of Mount Kenya East. Kiraitu Murungi and governor of Embu, Wambora. They were all there. Muthomi Njuki of Tharaka Nithi. They were all. They paid a courtesy call to Justin Muturi and affirmed that this is the right direction to go. Once you go, you are going to be enthroned as Mount Kenya spokesperson, then all Mount Kenya East are behind you. But that also sparked a very, very retribution, especially on the Murang'a bit of it. The Murang'a governor said, that person is not, Justin Muturi is not our spokesperson. One, I think for a first that politics and power is not given. It's taken. I think that is what the narrative and the philosophy...
In fact, somebody said that politics in Kenya is not a ballot box affair. It's a boardroom affair.
I think it's decided in the boardrooms. I think the ballot, it's going to... Ideally, that is what we should know, that is about multi-party democracy going to the ballot. But realistically, our politics is decided by, boardroom and negotiation and horse trading. So I think Mount Kenya East have come to life that, we must begin to go to a negotiating table, but not as underdogs. I think this is very important for each and every region.
They know their position.
I mean, everybody should know their position. And you could see the whole discussion has, thrown in the springs in the whole of Mount Kenya. The span is already thrown in all of Mount Kenya. They said as early as yesterday that, we want nothing less than a president. Remember, this is a region that has held president for some time, but they are still going to the negotiating table
for the top seat.
For the top seat, it's the same. Central Nyanza is also going the same as going for a negotiating table as the president. Rift the same. Mombasa has actually been having a discussion on whether to have a Mombasa party and fronting a presidential candidate. So all these discussions are healthy for democracy politically. That even as we approach 2022, all regions must actually front their persons not nothing less as underdogs, but so that you'd settled for, for a position that you're not thrown is out of power. Nobody would want to be in opposition.
What is your vision for 2022 general election?
My vision for 2022 is that, one, I foresee a situation where the deputy president has decided that he is a de facto presidential candidate under the United Democratic Alliance Party. And in that case, for him, the matter is settled. He wants a running mate. So he doesn't want to feel a second fiddle. That is a discussion that is also on the one wing. The alliance that is united between Gideon Moi and, Musalia Mudavadi, Moses Wetangula, I think one of the things that they are trying to do is to appeal to the face of Uhuru Kenyatta to endorse that alliance.
Yes.
But here, President Uhuru Kenyatta is very cautious about endorsing that alliance, minus, causing frustration and causing jittery within the ODM camp. So I think it's a PowerPoint. I think for him, his push is that even as much as he endorsed the alliance between Gideon Moi and the rest, he would not want to antagonize the handshake partner.
Yes.
So I think the jostling is that could he front the United Alliance to have a negotiating table with the ODM. But remember, Raila Odinga is not settling for nothing else as opposed to running for the president. He's been, his lieutenants have been saying, we have been here as handshake partner and we've had negotiation and we are not settling for nothing as opposed to the president.
Yes.
Alfred Mutua is coming in a very, very important, factor to play because all these William Ruto and, the handshake team would want to also look at the face of Eastern Bloc.
Yes.
And Eastern Bloc is so united behind Kalonzo Musyoka. So if Kalonzo Musyoka is not forthcoming, then they'll pull a strings using Governor Mutua. So all these are discussions that are really needs to be taken into context of what is going on.
What's the fate for Deputy President William Ruto? The question is, Mount Kenya have now decided, you know what, much as we are considered as one of the important regions anytime we have a general election, but the question is, Deputy President William Ruto is going for the hot seat and is still jostling to have a running mate from Central. We have got the Kiunjuris, we have got several candidates who are also lining up to be the running mate to Deputy President. And here comes a situation where, Mount Kenya says we have our own already.
Yeah.
Deputy President has not found a running mate from Central. What is his position?
Well, I think his position is as a political strategist. What the Deputy President is trying to do, Victor, he has neither opposed or support BBI, right?
Yes.
He's never done that.
No.
So why has he never done that? Because for him, if handshake and if we have a referendum going on, other positions are open to him to expand his negotiation. Because if Deputy President, the only hard nut to crack for him is to get a running mate that would not cause jittery, that would not, wouldn't seal his fate in terms of reaching out to other regions. We said last time in this platform, that as we stand right here, no political party would have to go to 2022 without forming an alliance. This take to the bank. Because for you to get 50 plus 1% to guarantee you that you do not have a runoff in the coming elections, you have to strike a winning coalition. And for you to strike a winning coalition and avoid a runoff as much as possible, any other candidate, political candidate for 2022 must avoid a runoff. Because runoff turntables in the political seat.
Yes.
And you could see from 2013 to 2017, no candidate. We didn't go for a runoff because in the runoff, anything can happen. So for Deputy President William Ruto, with his UD alliance, one of the things that he would do is to make sure that all his political strategists provides a platform where he accommodates all ethnic political parties minus antagonizing any region with the running mate that is going to decide on. But I would guarantee you that would be a very hard nut to crack, because the moment he settles for a running mate from Mount Kenya, it means that his negotiating power in Nyanza is cut. His negotiating power in Coast is hanging on the balance. So that is why I'm saying, for him, all political bigwigs want the Building Bridges initiative to pass so that we have a referendum. Why? Because a referendum, once it's set, it provides you with another yardstick of negotiating table.
Yes.
If any region is dissatisfied, for example, that you choose any running mate from any region, then you can appeal with them and tell them, you know, we have a position here for Deputy Prime Minister. We have a position here for 2 Deputy President or a Deputy President. We have a position here for all, you know, if you have a member of parliament, we can elect him to be a cabinet, because that is provided in the BBI. So I think all these, you know, presidential candidates, one of the things that they would want to do, first, including the deputy president, have a referendum pass. Have it so that you have a lot of negotiation table. Secondly, for him, is trying to provide a loophole, because for him also, he's providing a face of opposing the proposals. Because should it fail, he would come back to Kenyans and say, you see, this is what I warned you about. So that this thing is proving a hard knock on people, providing, you know, a lot of economic turmoil because we are having COVID-19. So I think he is to have a strategy to hoodwink the voters. If it passes, well for him. If it doesn't passes, good for him, because he would remind the electorate that I gave you proposals that bomb us.
Right. It seems like he's going to have it hard. Once, because as we speak, we have got Justin Muturi already fronted as a spokesperson for Mount Kenya, and is being fronted so heavily that it's most likely to overshadow any other candidate that will come after him. Then it means that Deputy President William Ruto will have another hard point to sell his running mate in Mount Kenya after Justin Muturi has been elevated to that level and already sitting on the high table. Is it work cut out for him?
No, I don't think he would really have a difficult time, unless significantly, which we haven't seen, unless President Uhuru Kenyatta decides to have a charm offensive in central Kenya to neutralize, you know, the deputy president inroads. But from what we see,
but will Deputy President have it easy to neutralize Muturi's candidature? Should it
no,
be so?
it would be a hard nut to crack, because you know, as we speak, Justin Muturi is the third most, you know, powerful person that we have you know, in the country, because he is the head of an arm of the government, one arm of the government, that is the legislature. So he's powerful in this position. I think that also informed the reason as to why he was also installed, because Mount Kenya leaders or elders were actually listing, you know, the area leaders from priority on terms of their position, and they settled for him. Secondly, by the fact that I saw Professor Peter Kagwanja, one of the, you know, elders who installed, he was saying that, you know, just like the House of Israel, they chose somebody from the list of the communities. I don't know, is the Mbere from Mbere community to be. So for them, I think he's making a statement that Mount Kenya East have supported, you know, Mount Kenya West and generally Mount Kenya region for different regimes. Why can't you give back this time round to you know, to the other points of Mount Kenya? But Victor, we've had by-elections delivered. UDA has taken positions in central Kenya. As we speak, Irungu Kangata pointed out that matters have been raised and the electorates have made a statement that their preferred position is to vote Deputy President William Ruto. To them. You know, he'd done his own survey. I don't know how scientific that survey was by Irungu Kangata, but it shows that all Mount Kenya are gravitating towards UDA. That is a hard nut to crack, especially on Jubilee Party as they head to Kiamba by-elections. So one of the things I would say that Deputy President, for now, I'm saying for now, has got inroads in you know,
Central
Mount Kenya West, if there's there's faction. But on Mount Kenya East, still a problem because that, you know, they are actually already have their spokesperson, and secondly, if that fails, they're only settling and saying that we are still relying our votes to Uhuru Kenyatta, who is the spokesperson.
Right.
So I think those are all indicators. Mine is to look at the outcome of Kiamba, and we're here. Should, and I'm saying this from a political strategy point of view, should Kiamba go to UDA, then Jubilee will have a very, very strong reason to worry about the change of the wave in central Kenya.
Wow. So Mount Kenya is going to an election, a divided mountain, so to speak. What should the president do as we speak to make sure that that crack does not widen any further?
I think for him, there are two narratives that are actually being perpetuated right now. One is fingers have been pointed towards the helm of Jubilee Party, specifically to the office of the Vice Chair of Jubilee and to the office of the Secretary General. So one of the things that he would want to do is to change the leadership within the Jubilee Party to try to neutralize the growing resentment that party, the two leaders in the Raphael Tuju and David Mudhari is chasing people away from Jubilee. For him to neutralize this narrative, I think there needs to be a change on the leadership of Jubilee. Secondly is to have, again, if there could be Sagana 2, Sagana 3, so that to have a discussion strategically on consolidating the Mount Kenya region. What is causing resentment in the region, and how would that be, you know, be neutralized? And thirdly, is to have a political party parliamentary group with Jubilee Party, because it has never been there since 2017.
Exactly.
The first time it was there, the people reported that it was a lecture meeting, where they arrived into the meeting, they were told what to do, and no questions was taken. So I think for them to do that is to have a PG for Jubilee Party. If Tanga Wing are willing to attend, but I think could be very important for him to strike assembly that is trying to unite the Jubilee Party and trying to, you know, to restructure the Jubilee Party again. And fourth, go back to Central Kenya and have a very serious talk with the people of Central Kenya.
I would like to see this from the president.
I think it's a time that is coming to make sure, especially as if the courts, the High Court are going to, you know, the Court of Appeal is going to have a contrary decision or is going to proceed to the Supreme Court on the ruling of Building Bridges Initiative issue, then I think one of the assignment is for him to go back and camp to Central, make a camp to Central Kenya. He's been camping to Nyanza, he's been camping to other regions, but I think it's time for him to go camp in Central Kenya and trying to, you know, reconfigure that voting.
And perhaps that, okay, we may just speculate, probably that is his last, you know, end game as we head towards 2022 general election. Let's talk about, for a minute, let's talk about Deputy President William Ruto. There is a dispatch that he's making his inroads in Nyanza. Sometimes in come next month, that is in July. He's saying that the motive of that is to reignite the fire of economic, you know, stability of that particular region. That is the main agenda why he's heading to Nyanza. By all means necessary, in a democracy, he is allowed to traverse any part of the country. But the question is, what are the chances of him getting a chunk of that voting block to UDA?
Well, there are two different points of view here. One is, I think, by the arousing welcome after the celebration of Madaraka, I think everybody was seeing this in media and social media that, you know, at the roundabout of Kondele, you know, he was welcome and he was asked to speak. He was taken by surprise. And I think you could see that he was never prepared to speak to the people, asking for where is the microphone and all, you know, that surprise where you expect a different reception, but given another different, a reception. So I think his strategies, and Eliud Owalo is doing a good work, in terms of trying to, get the deputy president footprints in Nyanza region. But again, that is a tall order, because like we are talking about the fragmentation of central region. Nyanza is equally being fragmented. And you could hear a discussion between, central Nyanza and south Nyanza. The two counties of south, that is Homa Bay and Migori, has been proving very difficult for, ODM, especially after post-2017 election. You have seen, even for the appeal to pass BBI in the county assembly of Migori was a headache, until you could also see that the chair of ODM tried to intervene on the governing the matters of Migori. There's a time there was the purported ouster motion to ouster the governor of Migori, Okoth Obado, in the allegation that he's trying to go in bed with deputy president. But I think the systematic onslaught in South Nyanza would bear the fruit only if very important things happen within. One is if, for example, the handshake partners are not going to guarantee that Raila Odinga would be the de facto flag bearer, then the Nyanza region would begin to have eyebrows raised. And that will give a very soft spot for Deputy President William Ruto or any other presidential candidate
to
who
have
would
it
want
easy
to have,
in central,
to have it easy in central, to appeal to the central people in the guise of trying to tell them that you people, you've been cheated, you've been, MOUs have been broken. That then would begin have a discussion within. Secondly, there is a narrative that is here that Deputy President can use. Post 2007 and post ICC, there's been a discussion whether, Deputy President has been saying, the people of Nyanza, they have no, conflict. The Rift has no conflict with the Nyanza. So the only difference is the fact that they have a difference in ideology. And that means that he would go sell his ideologies in Nyanza region, and specifically on South Nyanza. I highly doubt if he can traverse central Nyanza, that is Siaya and Kisumu. But he would go to Nyanza and probably try to appeal to them, to sell his UDA philosophy and manifesto. But that is subject to the turn of events in the handshake issue and the handshake deal.
But that brings a big question of how is it possible to, penetrate the Nyanza region, with all these development projects that have been, initiated by the president and deputy ODM leader Raila Odinga, and almost everything is up and running in Nyanza. How easy is it going to be for Deputy President William Ruto now to go and traverse the part of Nyanza and have it so easy move with him come 2022?
I would like to point one important thing that happened, and this we give to the Deputy President. Did you notice that 2019 Kibra by-elections, when everything was against the odds, that Deputy President wouldn't feel a candidate, he actually began by going to speak to hawkers around, Moi Girls area, miners just getting to Kibra. He just spoke to them and, told them that he would have time. He would come back again. And people said, this guy will not come to Kibra. It is the same thing. I am saying that he's done his groundwork well, and he's beginning to have his, camel head, the camel analogy. Camel head in South Nyanza, trying to tell them, one of the things that is trying to do is just to greet the people of South Nyanza and open a UDA office and would come back to speak to them. Before you know it, I have to give it to him that he would be one person that would be very interested in reaching out, even if he would not go to campaign. But I'm assuring you that one of the things that he would do is to have delegation after delegation in his home, trying to woo the people of Nyanza, and trying to appeal to them. But this is it's a fallacy for us to say here that, he would try to tell them about economical issues. One of the things I keep on saying that the Ruto was a ticket, and the deputy president cannot lambast the president on his agenda if he was in the government. And if he did not provide for that alternative when he's still in the government, then it wouldn't be an option. What is the likelihood that he would provide for it as a presidential candidate, or if he gains power? I think it's just a fallacy of all these. You know, we are trying, we have an economic agreement with any region that we would do if we get elected into position. But apart from Nyanza, what he's also doing that I like is also trying to reach the diaspora.
Yes,
and you see that he's going to open an office in the US and probably having a discussion even in the UK. Diaspora is a chunk of votes that any presidential candidate would be very, keen on in trying to tap into that kind of, voting constituency.
What would happen then if ODM leader Raila Odinga says that he's going to run for presidency? Would that change the narrative in Nyanza for him?
For William Ruto?
Yes.
Definitely, because one, I think Nyanza has been voting cohesively.
And he must be so much aware of that fact.
Yes, Nyanza is very cohesive in terms of voting. It's like central Kenya.
Yes. Yeah.
And for a long time, this is a region. The fact states that this is a region that has not, has been in opposition, and by being in opposition, they haven't really not been, having what we call goodies in quotes. Ever since independence, this is a region that has been very antagonistic in terms of, trying to, push the government of the day, but also trying to be very, conflicted on the day. And it is assumed that that kind of abrasive politics and confrontational politics have not really yielded much in Nyanza region. And you could also see, Victor, over the weekend, one of the publications made a very stinging statement about that region, that it's a region that is trying to aid a dictatorship within, give President Uhuru Kenyatta to have dictatorship. And you saw what happened, the rejoinder. So it says that I don't think Nyanza region would be prepared to be in opposition again. With all history that they have seen, under development, and not being in the government, the advantage of not being in the government, they wouldn't want again to be part of the opposition. And in fact, Nyanza region has said that if you are dissatisfied with the government of the day, you can also go to the streets. You can also petition the government. You can also try to form a cohesive opposition. It's not a must that the Luo region always be in the street protesting and showing their dissatisfaction. So for them, is an indication that theirs is to be in power this time round, not to be in opposition. And they're not going for anything less. They're not going for anything less as a presidential candidate. Should
Raila Odinga be worried about anything at this point?
Yes, I think one of the things that he should be worried about is the conflict on the tongues of what he's been calling the deep state, within trying to craft the alliance within Jubilee. And one of the things he should be worried about is, should referendum fail, that would provide, some dent into his power, political powership. Secondly, he must also be worried about the cracks within the ODM party. One is Kakamega governor is drifting away from ODM and trying to have a cosy affair with the deputy president. Secondly, his vote reach area of cost is not assuring as we speak. And also in Nyanza region, the Kisii and Nyamira region is actually not an area that he would really confidently saying he is having a strong hold. So I think for him, his worry should not only come because of the handshake, but also his own consolidation within his alliances and within his ODM party. I think those are the reasons for him to worry.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's take a break briefly. We'll be right back with more, and it's quite an interesting story on just how the political landscape is going to be leveled. Is it going to tilt on this end or on the other end come 2022? And of course, politicians are already up and running, and for them, there is no time left. All right? So for us, we also have no time left, but just to take a very short break, and we'll be
Motiso, pikipiki yako ndio hii. Uko shwani yangu. Hii pikipiki ni unakumbuka uniekelea the lowest unique bid yako ilikuwa ngapi? 18 shillings. Na unajua kuendesha hii gari? Kidogo. Haya, kitoko yako shika helmet, kifungu yako chomoka na mali yako.
Kujiunga na QuickBid ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bid yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16. Kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bid yako pia kwenye www.quickbid.co.ke. Kumbuka, bid ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio hununua. QuickBid, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
Every Monday evening, we take you back where the action happened.
We cheer up your Monday blues.
Our cameras rove all week to cover the latest in the enormous showbiz scene.
We show you what you missed even if you were present.
Grapevine gives 100% support to the local entertainment content.
From celebrity buzz,
music,
fashion,
and all manner of entertainment and youth talent.
Watch Grapevine every Monday at 10 p.m.
Remember what they say, if you did not see it on Grapevine, then it most probably
never happened.
Kupata skiza tune hii, sala ya imani na matumaini, dial *811 *815 #.
Sala ya imani. Mungu wangu na sadiki maneno yote linalosadiki na linalofundisha kanisa Katoliki la Roma. Kwani ndiwe uliofundisha hayo, wala haudanganyiki, wala haudanganyi. Amina. Sala ya matumaini.
Ili kupata skiza tune hiyo ya sala ya imani na matumaini, dial *811 *815 *811 *815 #.
Welcome back. Eye on Politics still on, and we're just talking about issues that affect us as a people, and of course what we should expect in the coming months as we head towards general election. With me here have Daniel Urogo, who today we are just discussing matters Mount Kenya and that is Mount Kenya and Lake Region politics, as well as all those that you need to do matters politics. Now let's talk about the issue of just before we move to the next step, as it is right now, what are the chances of ODM Raila Odinga having it easy for the Mount Kenya, in terms of we have got Mount Kenya region having here, we have got Lake Region here, so who is the biggest beneficiary on this political scene?
Well, I think two dimensions. One is if the handshake deal as it is, proceed, and if we have a court of appeal ruling otherwise, or if they agree with the High Court, and the lawyers appeal to a higher, the Supreme Court. If all these courts are going to say that it is good to proceed and have a referendum, then it bequeaths, then that becomes the value of then the opposition leader. Raila Odinga would say that, you see, it's time that you give a payback. It's time that he be endorsed to, to continue the legacy, to unite the country, because one of the campaign points, the strongest campaign points, and I'd guarantee you, is that the Odinga's factions would say, you know, we understand the president's mind in terms of uniting the country, you know, in terms of continuation of the Igbo agenda, then they would say that the only person who, you know, stands to continue that legacy is the former premier. Suleiman Shebal had just mentioned this, you know, when he decided that he is rejoining back the ODM from Jubilee. So for him, he said very well that, you know, there is no doubt that the presidential candidate, the handshake presidential candidate, is none other than, you know, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. But should this house crumble, then I think ODM would begin to relook back and take stock and, you know, question whether Jubilee Party is the right party to be a party partner to. Because one of the things I keep on saying, the more the Jubilee Party is losing these by-elections, the more it's casting doubt in terms of its gravitas to deliver the other half of the handshake deal. So for them is to... ODM is sitting pretty. That's what I can tell you, that ODM is actually sitting pretty because, you know, I said this before, that Right Honorable Raila Odinga, as much as he has a lot to worry, but much of his worry is on his party as a structure, not his deal, because it serves him well. Whether the deals backfires or whether it proceeds, it serves him well, because then he would say, we were a handshake partner and I delivered my bit of it. The Jubilee Party didn't deliver. So I think for him, as we speak, he's seated well. But the person that is, let me not, you know, like wait and see. The person is in wait and see is Deputy President, because all of the discussion is looking at where can he, you know, take advantage of to reap, especially when everything is falling asunder. So I think for him is also like wait and see and exploit those areas that is really not working well with the handshake deal.
And of course, again, when you talk about that, we can also, I mean, should Deputy President also be worried about the split in Mount Kenya? Of course, he's invested a lot of time, resources, and he's made inroads into the central part of Kenya. Now, with the split coming up, should he be worried about this as well?
Yes, I think it should be worried about, because that's what I said. Any winning coalition would really want a more cohesive, you know, platform.
Yes.
And the fragmentation of each and every region makes it hard for any presidential candidate to go and have a negotiation with those regions, Victor. And I think that is the ball here, that the more united region is, the more easy for any presidential candidate to have, you know, a deal with them, a political settlement with them. Because if, for example, you know, coast is divided into 4 factions, let's say that each and every county has got their political party, then how long, how much energy, how much investment would it take any presidential candidate to appeal to 4 factions of a region, you know, for them to have to settle on a deal? So I think you're right that any division within any vote block or any constituency of voters would provide a headache for any presidential candidate on the other side. But also on the other end, there are other regions, politically speaking, that if they are divided, you know, becomes easy becomes political prey for any other politicians. Case in case is Nyanza regions that we are talking about. If South Nyanza is divided from, you know, Central Nyanza, then Deputy President would have his easy forays to appeal to any other block of Nyanza that seems to be divided. You know, so in any other region, division serves best contextually, depending on the type of negotiation that any politician would want to approach them with.
So either way, a divided Mount Kenya is either good or bad for Honorable Raila Odinga and Deputy President William Ruto. Okay, that is going to be a very interesting point to note as we move forward, because Mount Kenya says that they have to be on the negotiating table come 2022. They have been in power for quite some time, and getting out of government to them is a non-issue at this particular point. Daniel, let's just move on and talk about NASA. They're talking about reigniting that fire once again, you know, and some of them are saying that the opinion is divided to, to bring the NASA principles together. The first question is, was NASA dead?
NASA was what do we say? Not really dead, but I don't know whether the word moribund.
They took a break.
Moribund would serve as a dead or as just temporary break. But you see, the Register of Political Parties still have a coalition agreement deposited in that office that NASA is is a coalition that still forms part of the opposition because they didn't successfully got to be in power and to be in governing of this country. So the document states that it's still a political outfit, but realistically speaking, I think that the principals have been reading different script. It all began by the swearing in and the controversial Serena Call.
Who came, who did not attend.
Who came, who didn't attend. And also compounded by the handshake, where it was questioned why one principal went and left the other principals, didn't accompany him to Arambe House. So I think the most important thing to note about all NASA and all these political parties, one, is that we are seeing that in a democracy like, a growing democracy like Kenya, political outfits become relevant, especially when people are going to vote. And after the voting, then they become abandoned. We've had instances, Victor, where we've discussed what then is the role of political parties and political outfits pre and after the elections. And one of the things that we've always noted is that once a party ascends into power, then they seems to abandon the vehicle that got them into power and now concentrate in the execution of that power. In that sense, what I mean is that as long as one candidate now ascends into the leadership, the helm of leadership in this country, the political party as an institution is always set aside. And I think that is not healthy for any democratic processes. Because like in South Africa, we're always talking about the ANC party, the stronger ANC party in the continent. I think it has also become a benchmark of each and every political party that wants to have a lesson must also learn from the African National Congress. But the most important lesson is that NASA served by that time, and when all these politicians got into Senate, some got into handshake deals, and others are left there, being leaders of their various political parties, then that coalition served its purpose. I mean, all the structure of NASA, including the CEO, Norman Magaya, and the rest, are actually dealing with the difficulties of being neglected somewhere, of not holding positions of, the super alliance by that time. So I think as these discussions begin, they're now realizing, okay, for us to form that coalitions, we really have to go back to that vehicle after abandoning it for 4 years and begin to have a discussion whether do we front a winning coalition by existing platform called NASA, or do we leave NASA now to become part of One Kenya Alliance, or do we still have, ODM and all other parties? But one thing I would like to say, I think it would take an effort for NASA to be a coalition again. I don't think it's going to be live again. It's good as dead.
This happened over the weekend when during the burial of former Kibwezi MP, that is Kalembe Ndile, who was laid to rest. Raila said that the pact and the bond between him and Kalonzo Musyoka is so tight that they have come a long way, that it would be so bad right now for them to separate. And the call of just coming and working with Kalonzo again is, the chances are still high that Raila Odinga cannot leave Kalonzo Musyoka way behind him.
But that's what I'm saying. The reality is, the optics are pointing otherwise. That if Raila Odinga, for example, is fronted as a handshake presidential candidate, who becomes the running mate? it's another hard question that not only for deputy president as we were talking about before, but even for Raila Odinga, because then if
it's a tough choice.
It's a tough choice for him. If he would want to, if he's fronted, like we say now, he's potential, and of course he's a potential presidential candidate. That comes with another baggage, because Mount Kenya would also want to say that they want, they would want a running mate. Where would that leave Kalonzo Musyoka? Where would that leave Musalia Mudavadi? Where would that leave Honorable, Gideon Moi and Moses Wetangula? So it is a hard nut to crack for him, because this is what I keep on calling a funeral announcements and roadside declarations that are actually not, someone is not really being able to put into practicalities. Because if that is it, then would he allow Kalonzo Musyoka, for example, to be to be his presidential candidate? Would Raila Odinga becomes the deputy, the running mate? So these are the most critical questions. That when an announcement like that is made, then we need to begin to ask: is it being made in the context of an assumption or presumption that the BBI is going to to proceed? Yeah. And that will bring into another discussion that we are having. And we have to say here, Victor, today in this set, that the realities are pointing to different directions, that we might not have a referendum. We might really not have it, because the timelines that are provided within for us to have a referendum, the more the court case, the earlier it can take, like, I think it was just Judge Musinga that said, the earlier it can take, the hearing can begin in probably in around late June or even in July. Yeah,
because the court's calendar.
The court's calendar. But now the question is, if the Constitution itself says that for us to have a referendum, it should be at least 1 year to the general elections. Yes. Where would that leave the discussion about having a referendum before the elections? And that puts a spotlight in the negotiation deals that we are talking about. Each and every presidential candidate, including Raila, that is promising to work with Kalonzo, what position would he offer Kalonzo Musyoka in reality as we speak? Yeah.
What are the chances of now, the question, if they reunite, are we likely to see that, that fire that burned in NASA in the last election being experienced again come 2022? Or there will be a bit of mistrust, we did this and we did that. So how would it play out come 2022?
Yeah, of course it's mistrust. Joe Hamisi penned down the history about political betrayals, and he says that the only uniting factor in politics is always betrayals. Yes. So each and every politicians knows that when they go to negotiation, it doesn't come a reality. It always lands in betrayal. Honorable Raila Odinga has complained about betrayal ever since 2002. Yeah. Not even 2002, when he became the party secretary general of KANU by that time. So I think one of the things that if NASA would really want to come alive, and that's what I'm saying, is that the guys really know what positions are they going to be. Exactly. Because even as we speak, the optics is that Raila Odinga has not become a second fiddle. The same way, Kalonzo Musyoka saying is not going to become a second fiddle. And Honorable Charity Ngilu as well is nagging, the Eastern Kenya region to unite, so that, the only uniting factor, what is uniting them, is saying that he would rather unite so that the deputy president do not assume into leadership position. That is what she said yesterday. Yes. So I think that would be marked by betrayals, but more so what is in the offer. Yeah, that would form a negotiation, a boardroom discussion.
Give me a picture of how the principles would look like come 2022. Hypothetically.
For what position?
Yes.
For which party?
Because we have got Musalia Mudavadi is here, and we have got Western leaders saying that, it's our time, and we have got our man, and this is it. So give me, most probably, what kind of the picture that you'd paint come 2022 as we finish?
If the country is going for a referendum and BBI passes, we would have a handshake coalition, loosely. I don't know what term they are going to give it, what outfit they are going to give it, but for now we call it loosely handshake deal. The handshake party would have a presidential candidate as Raila Odinga. They would settle for, if Central Kenya is going to compromise and support the handshake deal, then I foresee a situation where the running mate would come from Central Kenya. But then other position would be spread across.
Yeah.
The deputy prime minister would definitely settle for, Musalia Mudavadi, or, the president, they would say, let us give the president to Kalonzo Musyoka, because then we would have a president and the prime minister. Or if, for that hand, they would all consolidate.
Yeah.
These party bigwigs that are supporting handshake. Gideon Moi, Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka, Moses Wetangula, and Musalia Mudavadi would actually form the outreach, plus the second-term governors who would want a position as, cabinet secretaries. They would support
and
this
ambassadors
deal.
And all that.
On the other wing, I would see Deputy President William Ruto also, reaching out to Central Kenya and having a running mate there as well, because it's a charm offensive, and also having other positions, the Deputy Prime Minister for other regions. But should we not have a referendum, that is where now the rubber meets the road. That is where it's going to be a very tough political choice. I foresee 4 coalitions. I foresee one coalition that is led by the Deputy President as a running mate. The other coalition will be Raila Odinga. The other coalition will be One Kenya Alliance. And the other coalition will be a coalition that we don't know the name, but I will tell you that where the rubber will meet the road would be a runoff. Because all the fragmentation of these coalitions will not guarantee a win on the elections. But they would want to form coalition for the sake of a negotiation during the runoff.
Daniel, I think that is a perfect way to stop that discussion at that point. And you always know that a day in politics is, as you always say, is a very, very long time. And these politicians have one interest: who is going to take the mantle and who is going to be the running mate and what have you. So we still have got close to 13 months to go.
Sure.
And of course, political realignments will be there. Old enemies will become friends all over again. It's about interest and who is going to, take the mantle to the next level. So for you as a citizen, your work and your duty is to have your vote cast properly come 2022. Remember, the leaders that you vote is exactly the services that you will find and you'll get as people. All right. Let's stop that discussion at that particular point. Thank you so much for your valid company. And of course, the discussion will still continue online. My name is Victor Lo. Within a very short time, we'll be having that Maisha HIV and AIDS Conference 2021 that is running from now until the 16th of this month. So whatever you are doing, just make sure that you stay tuned, because KBC is going to give you that live coverage at the comfort of your homes. My name is Victor Lo. Thank you for watching and have a good morning. Bye-bye.
Bwana Motiso, pikipiki yako ndio hii. Uko shwani yangu. Hii pikipiki ni, unakumbuka uliekelea the lowest unique bid yako ilikuwa ngapi? 18 shillings. Na unajua kuendesha hii gari? Kidogo. Haya, kitoko yako shika helmet, kifungu yako chomoka na mali yako.
Kujiunga na QuickBid ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill, kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account, weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bid yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano, TV 16. Kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bid yako pia kwenye www.quickbid.co.ke. Kumbuka, bid ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio hununua. QuickBid, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
The greatest rally in the world is back in Kenya. Catch all the action of WRC Safari Rally live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1 from 24th to 27th June. See the world's best drivers navigate their machines on Kenya's rough terrain at breakneck speeds. Experience the thrills, adrenaline, drama and excitement as man and machine do battle. Don't miss out. WRC Safari Rally, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
You're going to realize it soon, Dad, just how mistaken you are. And you and Maximiliano are going to remember me, Dad. You're going to remember me. Listen, don't be naive. Come on. Amaya will obviously be there because that's the wedding of her sister. But my brother doesn't have any business there. He went so he could be with my wife. Do you understand?
Cesar,
idiot.
no! But none of you knows what I'm capable of doing in the name of justice.
Right. And what justice are you talking about, huh? Answer me! Answer me!
Max, watch out! Be careful!
Tonight.
I had everything prepared. If I hadn't met Chida-san, I'd have my doctorate by now.
You really thought this through?
I've made up my mind already. We'll hit the road after Shetin has recovered, probably in a few days. Nobody can stop me, even Taylor.
You tell Chida-san I'm not that cheap. The issue between us can't be resolved by a bank card. From now on, we're nothing but strangers.
Next on.
Halo.
Hamjambo.
Nzuri sana. Kidogo park on risk please. Watoka wapi? Jirani yako mimi nakaa hapa phase 2 hapa.
Wewe unasema waka mashambani wewe.
Mimi naishi hapa karibu hapo phase 2. Hatokenda miayo na kusikia. Hata gari zangu zoshwa pale pale. Karibu hapa gari 4. Mwanangu mimi kazi yangu ni Kanda Warriors. Kanda Warriors. Wale Red Indian.
Every Monday evening, we take you back where the action happens.
We cheer up your Monday blues.
Our cameras rove all week to cover the latest in the enormous showbiz scene.
We show you what you missed even if you were present.
Grapevine gives 100% support to the local entertainment content.
From celebrity buzz,
music,
fashion,
and all manner of entertainment and youth talent.
Watch Grapevine every Monday at 10 p.m.
Remember what they say, if you did not see it on Grapevine, then it most probably
never happened.
Name's Shamir Yusuf. I'm going to be navigating Makri Kimathi in the WRC Safari Rally 2021. We are proud to have our own Kenyan channel KBC to air these programs to our fans, sponsors and viewers. And we are proud to be associated with such a big media house. And we're expecting a lot in terms of coverage for our spectators and sponsors as well. Thank you.